Okay, good evening, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the March Zoning and Appeals Board meeting. The Augusta Board of Zoning and Appeals hears and makes decisions on application for variances in accordance with powers granted under Section 1-4-88 of the Augusta, Georgia Code. The applicant must the applicant must provide any scale drawings or plot plans, including all dimensions, pictures, or any other supporting information at this meeting. Only information presented at the meeting may be used in any future hearings regarding this petition. Any person affected by the board's decision may file an appeal with the Superior Court of Richmond County, Georgia, within 30 days of the decision of the board. The meeting will be conducted in accordance with the board's bylaws and rules of procedure and the latest edition of Robert Rules of Order, unless otherwise directed by the majority of the board in session at the time. A minimum of 10 minutes shall be afforded for the presentation of data, evidence, and opinions on each side of a petition. If more than 10 minutes is afforded to one side, then an equal amount of time shall be afforded to the other side. The board encourages participation in this hearing, and there is no restriction on who may address the board within the allotted time. But the board asks that the public the board may ask that the public comments be brief on subject and directed to the board, not any individual or group. Thank you.
We need a motion for the minutes. I make a motion to approve our minutes from our February the 17th, 2025 meeting.
Second.
All in favor of the approval of the February 17th, 2025 BZA meeting minutes, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Thank you.
Chairman, would you like us to read each one?
Yes, please.
All right, here we go. So item number 2 in your agenda packet, BZA 25-01. If you're in the audience or attending, we want to let you know that 1605 Doug Bernard Parkway has been postponed to the April meeting. We do need a motion in that effect, sir.
I'll make that motion.
I think I heard Turner and Chilvers. Brigham. Okay, so that was a motion to postpone BZA 2501. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is BZA 25-03, and it is a petition by Drayton Parker Companies, LLC, on behalf of Concord Hill Investments, requesting variances to sections 21-6C and 22-4 of the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance in order to reduce the rear setback from the required 50 feet down to 26.5 feet to place a dumpster on the properties at 3054 and 3064 Washington Road. This was continued from the February meeting. It is on page 14 in your packet. Staff will present.
Kevin Boyd, Development Services Manager. And so this petition involves 2 commercial lots totaling 1.89 acres that were successfully rezoned on November 4th, 2024 to allow for construction of a 24-hour convenience store. To support the proposed development and comply with the B2 setback and dumpster requirements listed in sections 21-6C, C, and 22-4 of the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance, the applicant seeks approval for the following variance: reduce the required rear setback from 50 feet to 26.5 feet to allow for placement of a dumpster and enclosure. And as you can see here, the property and surrounding tracts along the Washington Road corridor is situated in the B1, B2 zones, predominantly in the B2 zone. And then adjacent to the site is a residential neighborhood situated in the R1A zone. The applicant seeks to establish a 5,175 square foot, 24-hour convenience store with 16 fueling stations. The dumpster enclosure will be positioned in the southwest corner of the site. And these are photographs of the existing site and existing conditions where there's a Burger King location and Mia Rancho restaurant that was demolished and is now a vacant parcel. Chick-fil-A is further to the west there. On the properties directly south of the subject property are situated in the R1A zone. On Monday, December 16, 2024, the Augusta Tree Commission approved a reduction of the required rear buffer from 20 feet to 4 feet for 3054 Washington Road. So that's one of the two parcels. And additional landscaping and a new 6-foot wooden fence will be installed along the rear boundaries of the subject properties. At the time of the completion of this staff report, staff did not receive any inquiries regarding this variance application. That concludes staff's presentation.
Okay, do we have anyone here from Drayton Parker Companies, LLC? If you would come to the mic, state your name, your address, and whether you have authority to speak on behalf of Drayton Parker Companies, LLC.
Yes, sir. My name is Kyle Logue. I'm with EMC Engineering, and we are the engineers of record for this project.
Okay, and your address?
My address is 1211 Merchant Way, Statesboro, Georgia.
Tiffany Jackson with Drayton Parkers,
Okay,
171 Crossroads Parkway.
you may proceed.
Thank you guys for your time. As you can see, this is a Parker's convenience store located at the corner of Washington Road and Tremont Way. This site is unique due to the fact that the main driveway into the site is located at a red light. And we also have to provide for circulation of traffic to the Chick-fil-A that is located adjacent to our site. Due to those two restraints, we have pushed the canopy in the building back slightly. Normally, where we would just slide it closer to the road, we're kind of restricted there on access to Chick-fil-A and to the red light. And due to minimum dimensions allow for safe and smooth traffic patterns around the site, the building is situated where it is. And today we're asking for a variance for two instances. One is for the building, which is encroaching 8.25 feet. And then the dumpster that Mr. Boyd informed you in the southwest corner that is encroaching, or we're asking for the 25 or 26.5 foot variance for that. We believe that we have positioned the dumpster in a location that would be as least visible as possible from Washington Road and Tremont Way. We believe that back corner is the best spot for this dumpster.
We just want to make sure with the planning department that additional inclusion of the building is included in the variance, because the dumpster was the only thing that was spoken for
Okay.
in the staff report.
So looking at the site plan in front of you, is that the latest plan?
It is.
Okay, so your reduction was from 50 feet to 26 feet, and you're showing the driveway to be 26 feet, so it's outside of the reduction area. So as you can see, the dumpster enclosure is within that reduction, but the building actually is positioned higher than the 26 feet that you're requesting. So that's why we just advertised it for the dumpster.
I would just like to point out that the the building setback would be the most important part of this ask, I guess, for the variance itself. The reason the dumpster is so far south is due to the requirement from Chick-fil-A next door. They have a requirement on this property that we have to provide them additional parking spaces. So we have provided additional parking spaces on the left side of this site for shared use between Parker's and Chick-fil-A.
That's correct. There are some contractual obligations for parking and cross-access. And due to that combined with the irregular shape, there are limited locations for that dumpster. So that combined with those items, we are limited on where we can place that, which makes that variance request so great for that 26 feet. And so with that, that is why the ask for that dumpster distance is so great. However, the building distance is very important to the development of this site, with it being a little over 8 feet. So we would ask that the irregular shape and those obligations be taken into consideration. We are providing a fence along the rear and some additional landscaping to help with that coverage along the back as well. If there are any other questions regarding that, we are happy to field those and provide any additional information.
Yes, Board Member Chivers?
Just a little clarity. So now, are you asking for one variance or two variants? Because I'm kind of confused there.
I
because-
think staff is going to clarify it.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
explain that a little bit more.
whenever we advertised it, we said the reduction from 50 feet to 26 feet for the placement of the dumpster. We should have also said for the building, but when they are granted the 26 feet, it's going to apply for anything on the property. That would be the effective setback, 26 feet. But we should have included that it is, the reduction is for the building as well, but the end result is the same,
Okay,
essentially.
so they really don't need two, that we just need to do that
Just
one?
one
Okay,
variance,
thank
yes.
you. That cleared my question.
Does anyone else have anything?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, go ahead. Mr. Brady.
I guess y'all heard the discussion in the pre-meeting about screening the dumpster. Are y'all going to do that?
I did not hear the discussion in the.
You did not? Okay. We're curious as if you're going to screen the dumpster, that it's not just sitting out, that it's kind of,
Our dumpster is enclosed. It is enclosed in like a brick enclosure, so it is screened. If that, does that answer adequately?
basically what you're saying, it wouldn't be seen by the public.
Correct.
That's what I want to hear.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Chair,
Sorry, there will also be landscaping surrounding the block wall.
Chairman Forrest, are there any objectors in the audience for this variance request? Did we receive anything in writing? Can we have staff's recommendation?
The Planning and Development staff is recommending denial of this particular application because it does not meet the minimum criteria set forth in Section 21-6C, Section 33 of the zoning ordinance. And that concludes staff's recommendation.
Mr. Brigham?
Mr. Chairman, Madam Director, would you have any recommendings if I was to make a motion to approve this?
I believe that the zoning requirement is for them to install a fence or a wall because of the separation in the adjacent use that's residentially zoned. In the event that does not, I would ask if you make a recommendation or a decision for approval that you include that the the back portion of that property line have a privacy fence installed prior to CO so that they can screen properly for the residential uses adjacent.
Would the applicant be agreeable to that?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. With that, I'm going to make a recommendation that we approve this application with the reduced setback.
Go ahead.
So we're voting on two variances? Just one, and it's all in, okay.
It's all in one.
I second the motion.
So for clarification on the motion, if I may, Commissioner Brigham, you are making a motion to approve the reduction in setback for structures to 26.5 with the requirement that the back lot have a privacy fence, the back portion of the lot have a privacy fence that runs the length of the rear property adjacent to the residential.
And that the dumpster be enclosed.
And the dumpster enclosure is required by the zoning ordinance, yes. So is that,
Can I add to that prior to CO, please?
yes, prior to CO.
So make a motion to, Mr. Brigham? Okay, okay. Okay. Can we have a second?
I second.
You second, okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Can we have aye? Any opposed? No opposers? Motion passed.
Thank you.
You will get your information in the mail regarding that. Okay. So your letter will be going into mail to you this week. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, item number 4 on your agenda, BZA 25-04, is a petition by James Marbury requesting variances to sections 8-4 and 8-4E and 8-4F to enlarge an existing accessory structure to 2 stories or 25 feet in height to include sleeping and bathing facilities and increase the maximum accessory building area from 1,528 square feet to 2,811 square feet on property located at 1209 Candlewood Court. This property is zoned R1, and it is continued from our February meeting. They were looking at reducing the height on this. It is in page 21 of your packet. Staff shall present.
Good afternoon. My name is Ashley, a Development Services Administrator with Planning and Development. This petition pertains to a parcel that's approximating 1.17 acres, and it's situated at the end of Candlewood Court in a short cul-de-sac within the Waltern Acres subdivision off of Willis Foreman Road. The petitioner is seeking variances from the comprehensive zoning ordinance to expand an existing outbuilding situated behind the single-family residence located on the lot. On Tuesday, February 17th, 2025, the Board of Zoning Appeals voted to postpone this application to allow for planning and development staff to work with the applicant and discuss alternatives in reducing the overall size and the height of the proposed additions to the accessory building. On March 10th, the applicant provided a revised layout which reduced the overall height of the building to a single story or 16 feet and size to 2,393 square feet. The subject lot is triangular in shape with a narrow curved frontage along the cul-de-sac, and it's approximately 300 feet wide at its rear. The home is situated on the lot. It occupies 2,371 heated square feet per the property records. The rear outbuilding in its configuration occupies approximately 1,588 square feet per the presented plans. And currently, the outbuilding consists of a 3-car garage and a man cave room with a half bath. The building forms an L shape. A concrete patio is tucked inside the L. The homeowner intends to construct an addition of 1,223 square feet, expanding the outbuilding to a total of 2,393 square feet. This constitutes a 95% increase in the size of the building. The building is expanded on 2 ends. At one end, the concrete patio is enclosed to add a billiards room. In order to construct this addition, the petitioner needs request relief from 3 regulations that are found in Section 8.4 of the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance pertaining to accessory buildings in the R1 zone. That is the subsection 8.4E for the maximum total gross floor area for accessory buildings on the parcel based on the size of the lot. And then subsection 8.4F, which prohibits an accessory building from being used for residential purposes. They shall not contain sleeping, bathing, or cooking facilities. The stated purpose for the additions is to assist the homeowner, a disabled veteran managing post-traumatic stress disorder, and his treatments as this would be a safe haven and peaceful area. At the time of writing of this report, staff received a petition with 7 signatures of support from the public regarding this petition as it has been advertised. And that concludes staff's recommendation.
Okay, thank you. Is there the petitioner here, please? Come forward, state your name and your address and
My name is James Mabry. My resident is 1209 Candlewood Court, petitioning for addition to my out back area for the purpose of therapeutical subjects. Initially, I had a upstairs, downstairs petitioning for it. We've changed it to make it one level to get out one of the variants, and petition the board that they approve the second blueprint of it.
is there anything else you want to add?
Yes, my name is Regina Mabry. I live at 1209 Candlewood Court. And this area is beneficial and is necessary for him and his PTSD status, for him to have a quiet, safe haven away from the house. In the last meeting, someone questioned why we didn't build onto the main house. And the reason being, we got 2 teenagers, my brother, and a 4-year-old living in the house, so he needs space away from the house. And with the 2-story, it would give him a place for the billiard room, and also for storage, and also for exercise room. Not just a place where he can just go and be quiet, where he can go and do an activity to calm his nerve and to calm him down, and give him room away from the house. We did amend it because it was seeming like you all would not approve the 2-story, but we really need room for storage. We have a 4-bedroom house, and we just got a lot of people just in the house now. So we're asking for you to approve it.
Okay, thank you. Are there anything else you want to? Are there any objectors in the audience to this petition?
All right, Mr. Mabry, I guess, did you all actually reduce it from the last meeting you all were here? So
Yes.
did you all make a reduction?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, and could you please, for the record, let us know the reduction? I see you have Mr. Jesse here with you, and would you like for Mr. Jesse to speak on your behalf?
Yes.
Okay, Mr. Jesse, could you please state your name and your address for us for the record?
Yes. Hello, everyone. Thank you for your time. Oscar Jesse, address 5747 Wishburn Pines Way, Evans, Georgia. Yes, he reduced the size, and I guess just to kind of keep in mind that the size of the existing building was already done prior to them moving in as well. So right now they do have the single story space that they have provided, which you all should have copies of that as well. Yeah.
Do we have what Mr. Jesse is describing in our package? Okay, so it was, so when you all came before, the square footage was what? And it was two-story, am I correct?
Yes, correct.
So
Yes, ma'am.
now is it still two-story or one-story?
It's been revised to one story, correct.
Okay, okay, and could you tell us in the record the square footage?
So just to confirm, do you have your square footage?
I can help you out, Oscar.
Yep, all right.
The original square footage was 2,811. The proposal is 2,393. And then it went from, let's see, 25 feet in height, 2 stories, down to 16 feet in height, 1 story. So, and you go back to the agenda, we still have the original, because we just received this information late last week, so the advertisement number, the 2811 is the original request.
Okay, Mr. Chairman, if I may, I believe Director Delaney, I believe the information we have, I guess, should we read it into record for this particular variance request from Mr. Lonnie Wimberly?
I was going to after the questioning.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, I have a question for the applicant.
Yes, go ahead.
May I have a question for the applicant? So, sir, this question may be best answered by a contractor. So the previous layout was a 2-story. Are we a true 1-story, or are we a 1.5-story on this redesign?
It's a true one story.
True 1-story. So the elevation of the roof is just simply because the footprint is, it's just getting a little bit wide. So the roof's got to go up.
And kind of tie into the.
Sure, understood. Thank you so much.
Yes, go ahead, Mr. Brigham.
One additional question. On the new layout, we doing an expansion of the existing building?
Yes, sir, so they expanded.
So how many square feet are we adding to the existing building, not the total?
Additional 757 square feet.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear. Thank you.
Ms. Williams, then.
I have I'd like to thank you for your service, Mr. Mabry. Genuinely, thank you for your service. And I understand PTSD. I also understand that this is medically necessary, that you need to have a way to get away. Is there a recommendation from staff where we can get an approval?
Chairman?
Yes, go ahead,
In
please.
response, I would like to read into the record an email communication from the president of the Richmond County Neighborhood Association Alliance, if you would allow.
Yes, please.
All right. It says, I am Lonnie Wimberly, president of the Richmond County Neighborhood Association Alliance. I am out of town this week, therefore I cannot attend this appeal board meeting. Complaints have been made to the Alliance in opposition to the variance requests for the listed properties and family residents. Granting these appeals paves the way for a business venture or a second resident or other uses that are in total opposition to the original zoning of residential. We ask that these appeals be fully rejected, and that includes BZA 25-04. And then as we do the other ones, I'll read those in too, if that's okay, sir.
Yes, please. Thank you. Yes, go ahead. Shivers.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Once again, I do appreciate your service. Now, we do have a letter here in our packet stating that you do suffer PTSD from, and I think it's from your therapist, but there's not a name here as to who the therapist is, just for the record. Mine is not. Letter of intent, the homeowner, not that one, okay. Page 30, I do apologize. I just want to make sure we have that letter. And thank you, staff. Okay, I do see it, okay. Thank thank you very much, and I, once again, appreciate your service.
Any other questions from,
Mr. Chair, Mr. Chair, I have a question for the staff.
go ahead, sir.
For the staff, if we were to move forward with approval, the existing accessory building has power, do we need a variance for the fact that it already has power to legitimize that? Thank you.
Let me ask a question for staff. And in all transparency, I got a call concerning this one, okay? And anytime people call, they're very concerned. And I think their concern was that they want to make sure that this is not going to be a living quarter or turn into an Airbnb.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Can we have staff recommendation?
The Planning and Development staff is recommending denial of the variance request as it does not meet the criteria for granting variances as established in Section 33 of the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance of Augusta, Georgia, as amended. However, should the board seek to do a medical approval, we would ask that they put conditions on it with regards to the use of it as a short-term rental. And that concludes staff's recommendation.
Thank you.
Yeah, I move to approve.
Okay, second?
It was staff
Yep.
recommendations, medically approved.
Okay, can I have a second? Mr. Brigham?
I was waiting, the motion got on the floor, I was going to ask the question.
You had a question?
Yes. I see a bathroom. I don't see any kitchen facilities in this. And you understand that this cannot be used as a rental additional. So according to our current laws and zoning regulations, we don't allow garage rentals and that kind of thing that's not already pre-existing. Is that correct, Madam Director? Okay. I just want to make sure the applicant understands that this cannot be used as short-term rental at all. Thank you.
So the motion,
I want to hear him say it.
okay, go ahead.
No, it's not. It's not. This is around.
It will not be used.
Okay, so the motion that was on the floor, does it still stand with the staff recommendations? It does.
I second.
Second?
And I guess we're clear, Mr. Maper, that this would not be used as a living quarter or a rental. Okay.
Can we have a roll call vote, please?
That's fine. All right, so we have a motion on the floor to approve BZA 25004 with a medical approve. And that's with staff recommendations stating no short-term rentals / living quarters are allowed.
That's correct.
So we're going to do a roll call vote. Commissioner A. Williams, how do you vote?
Commissioner.
Approved.
Board member, okay. Board member Pascal, how you vote?
Approved.
Board member Rowe, how do you vote?
I abstain.
Board member Brigham, how do you vote?
I vote in favor.
Okay. Board member Morton, how do you vote? Approved. All right, board member Turner.
Approve.
Board member Chivers.
Approved.
And board member E. Williams, how do you vote?
Approve.
All right, so BZA 2504 has been approved for staff recommendation.
Thank you. Your letter will be going in the mail tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Right, next item on the agenda is BZA, excuse me, BZA 25-07, and it is a petition by Trip Wilson on behalf of Weinberger Enterprises requesting a variance from Section 23-5B of the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance to reduce the side setback from the required 10 feet down to 4 feet to allow for the subdivision of a lot with 2 existing buildings on the property located at 2521 Reynolds Industrial Road. This property is zoned light industrial. It's on page 35 in your packet. Staff will present.
Ashley Catterton, Development Services Administrator. This variance request involves a 2.42 acre lot that's located on 2521 Reynolds Industrial Road. This property is zoned light industrial and situated in the Reynolds Industrial Park. The property contains a discount store and warehouse building. The applicant is seeking a variance to reduce the side setback from 10 feet to 4 feet, which will allow for the tract to be subdivided into 2 parcels, selling the smaller building located on the west side of the property. The 2.42 acre property is approximately 525 feet wide and 200 feet deep, which is an average size lot of the existing properties that are situated in the Reynolds Industrial Park. According to the Augusta-Richmond County Tax Assessor records, the property is occupied by a 35,496 square foot warehouse that was constructed in 1978 and a 15,254 square foot discount store constructed in 1970. The applicant is proposing to subdivide the property between the 2 buildings, with the property to the west meeting the required 10-foot east side setback, leaving the building to the east with a 4.5-foot west side setback. Section 23.5B of the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance requires a minimum 10-foot side setbacks in the light industrial zone, and the warehouse will measure only 4.5 feet from the proposed boundary line. And at the time of completion of this report, there were no inquiries that were received for this variance application, and that concludes staff's recommendation.
So we have the petitioner here. If we come to the mic, state your name and your address, and you have authority to speak on behalf of this petition.
Trip Wilson, 2206 Gardner Street, and I represent the owner as a real estate agent.
Yeah, my name is David Jones. I'm an attorney with Trotter Jones. My address is 3615 Walton Way Extension, and we represent the applicant, Weinberger Enterprises. Okay. And to expand on what was said in the pre-meeting, so this property used to be 2 separate tax parcels, and to give you a little bit of history on the property, Mark Weinberger, the applicant is Weinberger Enterprises, which is a partnership whose general partner is Mark Weinberger. The property that is currently under contract and that they're looking to sell was bought by Mark and his brother and his parents back in 1989. When they bought it, there was an existing building there. Subsequently, Mark bought his brother out, his parents out, and he transferred it to Weinberger Enterprises in 2010. The other property that he will retain that we're asking for the variance from the side setback line was actually acquired by Weinberger Enterprises from third parties in 2004. So I don't know the exact year that the properties were combined, but I'm going to guess, because there wasn't common ownership until 2010, that it was at the earliest 2010, maybe 2011. Again, these properties were 2 separate tax parcels. We know up until that time, 2010, 2011, we're asking that they just be re-subdivided again so that Mark is able to sell the property to the west.
Anything else? Are there?
Happy to answer any questions. Thank you.
Are there any objectors present? No?
Can we have staff's recommendation?
The Planning and Development staff is recommending denial of the variance request as it does not meet the criteria for granting variances as established in Section 23-5B of the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance as amended. However, should the board move to approve the applicant's request, staff recommends the following condition: that 1, allow for a minimum of 4-foot west side yard setback along the proposed boundary line.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make the motion to approve with staff recommendations.
Second.
Mr. Chairman.
Is that in agreement with?
Yes, we're in agreement with that.
Okay.
Absolutely.
All right. It's been second.
So it's been moved to second.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Brigham, go ahead.
You can't tell Jim Trotter he can come back and visit us again, too.
Well, that's interesting. Someone asked me where Jim was today. I wanted to tell him he was down at the parade, but he really is in the office.
Oh, okay, so he's working. I got you. Okay.
Okay, so it's been properly moved to second and approved. Oh, Wayne, go ahead.
I don't know how to recruit myself. Weinberger's was my first job.
Oh, really? Okay.
So, I think I'm good.
Yeah, okay.
We have, you gonna say something? Go ahead.
It's properly moved to second. All in favor?
Aye.
No opposed? Any opposed? So it's been properly passed. If you get your letter in the mail.
All right, thank you very much. Good seeing
Thank you.
everyone.
All right.
Next item on the agenda, page 43 in your packet. It is a petition by Janie Kurkowski requesting variances from sections 8-4A, 8-4B, and 8-4E of the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance to reduce the side setback from the required 10 feet to 5 feet and to reduce the rear setback from the required 10 feet down to 5 feet and increase the maximum accessory building area from 479 square feet up to 768 square feet on the property located at 3619 Bremen Drive. The property is zoned residential R1C, and it is on page 43 in your packet. In fact, staff will give more details.
Hello, it's me again, Ashley Gatterton, Development Services Administrator. This request involves a 0.22 acre tract that's located at 3619 Bremen Drive. The property is currently zoned R1C and is situated in the Pepper Ridge subdivision. The applicant is seeking variances to reduce the side yard setback from 10 feet to 5 feet, reduce the rear yard setback from 10 feet to 5 feet, and increase the maximum accessory building floor area from 479 square feet to 768 square feet to allow for the construction of a new accessory garage building. And the applicant states that the purpose of the new building is to provide a safe area to store expensive vehicles, lawn equipment, and general household items to prevent theft and damage from weather elements. The lot is approximately 76 feet wide and 130 feet deep, which is the average lot size of existing properties that are zoned R1 in the Pepper Ridge subdivision. There are no accessory buildings currently existing on the property. 8.4B and 8.8B of the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance requires accessory buildings to have a minimum 10 feet side yard setback, and the proposed accessory building will encroach 5 feet within the side setback. Section 8.8C of the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance is requiring accessory buildings to have a minimum 10 feet rear yard setback, and the proposed accessory building will encroach 5 feet within the rear setback. The requested west side and north rear yard setbacks for 5 feet would be a 50% reduction. Section 8.4E of the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance states that the maximum total gross floor area of all accessory buildings on a lot shall be based on the area of the lot upon which they are located. For lots 10,000 square feet or smaller, the maximum size is limited to 5% of the lot area. This would allow for a maximum total gross floor area of accessory buildings at 479 square feet. The 768 square foot accessory building will exceed the allowed maximum by approximately 62%. The proposed accessory garage building will not have electrical service, and approval of this request would not exceed the maximum 30% allowable lot coverage in the single-family zoning. And at the time of completion of this report, no inquiries were received by staff concerning this variance application, and that concludes staff's presentation.
The petitioner in the audience, please. If you would come to the mic, state your name and your address, and if you have authority to speak on behalf of this variance.
Yes, my name is Marlon Hall. I'm at 3619 Bremen Drive, Augusta, Georgia, 30906. I am the petition's husband, and I do also have a letter just for giving me permission to speak on her behalf. We're just looking to have a garage added to the property in the rear so we can store vehicles and zero-turn lawnmowers and some other stuff that she has for gardening and things like that. So looking to get that garage added for her.
Is that it, or anything else you want to add?
No, that's it pretty much.
Are there any objectors in the audience?
Sir, we do have that letter on behalf of the Neighborhood Alliance. This is one of the addresses that they are also objecting to. So if you would like, I can read it again.
Yes, please.
Okay. All right. It says, I am Lonnie Wimberly, president of the Richmond County Neighborhood Alliance. I am out of town this week, therefore I cannot attend this appeal board meeting. Complaints have been made to the Alliance in opposition to the variance request for the listed properties. These properties are a zone for one-family residence. Granting these appeals paves the way for a business venture or a second resident or other uses that are in total opposition to the original zoning. We request that these appeals are fully rejected, and they cited BZA 25-08, which is this particular case. They said, thank you for your support. And that concludes the opposition via email.
Thank you. Do we have staff recommend?
Mr. Chairman. Sir, I just got to ask, you're not planning on putting a bathroom in this garage, are you? You're not planning on putting a kitchen in this garage, are you? You realize this garage cannot be used as residential rental property? Okay.
Thank you.
This is a lot of square feet here. It's a large structure. Considering your lot size.
I don't think it's enough, but that's what we came up with after we measured it. We didn't want it to be too large, but she do need considerable amount of storage space. Besides the vehicle, she want to be able to put the zero-turn lawnmower in the rear. It's 25 feet deep, and the cars are at least 10 feet long a piece. So.
Okay, and you said you mentioned a zero-turn lawnmower. Is this for business or personal use?
No, it's personal.
Okay, would you be willing to compromise to go down to decrease your size of this particular building?
Decrease it to?
I'm just asking the question.
No, well, it's been a process, so we already made a deposit on the structure and the building before we actually knew that we had to get a permit and all this thing. So right now, it's already set for what size the building is. So I'm not sure that she would want to reduce the size.
Okay, so I guess I'm questioning, so you already put down a deposit and made the, I guess, whatever necessary arrangements for this particular size building?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I guess from the staff, how did this come to us then after the fact?
Well, they just ain't the first one.
I'm sorry, ma'am, could you say that again?
I'm just trying to figure out, how did this come to us after the fact?
When did they figure out that they needed this variance?
Uh-huh.
I can't be 100% sure.
Okay, and you're using a contractor, a business doing this for you?
Yes, ma'am.
So I'm sorry. So they have, you actually.
But this ain't the first time.
I'm sorry, say one more.
I've been on board.
No, ma'am. No, nothing's been done before. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, we're good there. And everybody, board member Williams said The actual size of it, you know.
We just put 20 variance, right?
You're over 289 square feet. Is that correct, staff? It's over that amount, if you approve that?
62% increase.
62% increase. So, and we're trying to work with you, so we don't, and you do have an option to go back, you know, to the neighborhood alliance and, you know, talk to them and see if they will, because they are objecting.
Okay.
Mr. Rowe?
Mr. Sherman, I'd like to suggest that we hear staff recommendation.
The Planning and Development staff is recommending denial of the variance request as it does not meet the criteria for granting variances as established in Section 33 of the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance as amended. Should the board move to approve the applicant's request, staff would recommend the following conditions. Allow for a maximum of 5-foot west side yard setback and a north rear yard setback, and increase the maximum total gross square floor area for accessory buildings up to 768 feet on this parcel. And then number 2 of the conditions, if you would choose to approve it, is the applicant acknowledges sections 8-4 of the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance, which outlines the following. Accessory buildings shall not be designed and used for residential purposes. They shall not contain sleeping or cooking facilities. Accessory buildings may not be used to conduct home occupations or serve as home offices. And then, of course, in no case may an accessory building have separate electrical service. So that concludes staff's
Sir, do you agree to those additions?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to move that we accept this request.
Can I get a second?
I second it.
It's been second.
I got a question. Mr. Laney, did you get anything from the neighbors? Do you have any visits from the neighbors in the package?
No, sir. Outside of that one email,
It's only from,
Mr. Chair, can we restate the maximum square footage? I'm trying to figure out
the maximum square footage.
Yeah.
The maximum square footage, which is what they are requesting, is 768 square feet.
And what was your,
There's a motion on the floor. Point of order.
what was the motion on the floor for? What number of square feet?
I motion and there was a second. Discussion is over until it's called, according to Robert Rules of Order.
Last time I heard, until we vote, we can have discussion. Mr. Attorney, is that correct? You're
But
a
he calls for
parliamentarian.
discussion.
Mr. Chair,
The attorney is talking.
the attorney, I do apologize, Mr. Attorney.
Discussion is had on a question until the matter is, the question is called, but the question being called does not happen when the motion is proposed and seconded. It's happened when there is an actual call of the question, which is a separate sort of procedural motion. And so discussion can be had on any motion until there's a separate procedural question for call. That makes sense.
I'm back to my question. Is the applicant square footage and the director's recommendation the same? Okay, thank you.
I know that.
Is it, I would like to do a substitute motion, may I? I recommend denial.
Second, due to the square footage.
We have a substitute motion on the floor for a denial due to square footage with a proper first and second. We're going to take that particular item first. All in favor of the denial, please raise your hand. Substitute. Approval of the substitute motion, please raise your hand. High, so we can see.
I just wanted to add one more thing. I heard you ask.
Hold on, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry. She pointed.
All right.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Might need to do a roll call. Do a roll call.
Do a roll call.
Okay,
please.
so Board Member Williams, how do you vote for the denial, substitution for the denial? The substitute motion for a denial.
Oh, denied.
What to deny? Yes, it's a yes or no. Board Member Rowe?
I'm denying the secondary motion.
Board Member Pascal?
Yes.
Board Member Chivers?
Yes.
Board Member Turner?
I am not in favor of the denial.
Board Member Brigham?
I vote no on the denial.
Board Member E. Williams?
Yes.
For the denial?
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, it's a tie?
You just approved.
I got five.
So, yeah, then the chair votes for a substitution, then the chair votes for the substitution if it's tied. Again, this is only for the substitution. There's no, however this ends, we're just talking about what motion we're going to end up voting for.
Yes.
So now the motion on the floor is denial.
All right, we're going to call the question a motion for denial of the application. We're looking for a yes or a no to the denial of the application.
All right, Board Member A. Williams, how do you vote on the denial? Yes or no?
No.
Board Member Pascal?
Yes.
Board Member Rowe?
No.
Board Member E. Williams?
Yes.
Board Member Chivers?
Yes.
Board Member Turner?
No.
Board Member Brigham?
No.
And Board Member Morton?
No.
So the denial has failed. I got 1, 2, 3. You got 3? Yep, denial has failed. So do we go back to the motion for approval?
Yes.
So,
That's it.
Yes.
yeah, now it would be a motion for approval.
All right, we're looking for a motion of approval. Well, we already have the motion to approve that's on the record. And the approval is for 5 foot on the west side yard setback with accessory building with a maximum of 768 square feet. And that the petitioner acknowledges 8-4 of the comprehensive zoning ordinance. That's the motion that we're looking for a yes or a no on. We're going to do a roll call vote, please. Go ahead, Amber.
All right, Board Member Rowe, how do you vote for your approval?
Approve.
Board Member Pascal? Board Member A. Williams?
Approve?
Board Member Morton? Is approved with staff recommendations? Yes, ma'am, to approve with staff recommendations, to approve for him to go ahead and do it. Go ahead, okay. Board Member Brigham?
Yeah.
Board Member Turner? Board Member Chivers?
No.
Board Member E. Williams?
No.
Right. I need you to break the tie.
What do you have?
I have 4, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, I have 4.
5, 5.
I have 5 yeses, 3 no's.
Who's your 5? Who got 5? BZA 25-08 passes staff recommendation.
So,
We're going to revisit, and we're going to just go through, make sure we verify. We're going to verbally verify everyone's vote on this particular one. Go ahead, Amber.
All right, so I have Board Member A. Williams, you stated yes on the approval.
Correct.
Board Member Pascal, you stated deny. Board Member Rowe, you stated,
Approve.
I didn't get, Board Member Brigham, you stated yes. Board Member Morton, you stated whether approve or deny. Approve. Board Member Chivers?
No.
Board Member Turner? No. And Board Member E. Williams?
No.
Yeah, it's the tie. So, Chairman Forrest, you would have to approve or deny?
No.
Then no? Okay.
That is crazy.
CA 2508 has failed.
All right, sir, unfortunately, your petition has not passed.
We'll continue. Let's continue with two.
Right, can I get there? It did not pass, therefore, we are going to be seeking a motion to deny. That's the next steps.
Mr. Chair.
So I have a 3-5, so that's the thing, is that I have, we've had a motion to deny and a motion to approve, and both of those failed. So either anyone can make a motion to deny or to approve and see if the numbers change, or you can have a motion to continue this so that more discussion can be had, more input can be done, or you can put this to the end of the agenda to discuss. It's as if no motion has been passed yet.
Let me say this for the petitioner. Sir, could we put this to the end of the agenda and go ahead with the rest of them? And you consider, that's why I asked you that question. Are you willing to decrease your size? But so what we're going to do, I would make a motion if we could to put it to the end of the agenda. And that way he can consider whether or not he would agree to decreasing his size. I'm just saying, I'm trying to work with you, sir, here.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
I second.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so I make a
second it.
motion that we move this particular variance request to the end of our agenda for this particular meeting.
And I second it. I second.
Okay, is there any objection to that? Okay, objected. Can we get a show of hands? All those to move the item to the end of the agenda, raise your hand. It's got to be above the computer screen. I can't see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All opposed? 1. Okay, so the agenda has been amended. This matter goes to the end of the agenda. We're moving on to the next item.
All righty.
And also, Chairman, let me say that maybe he can talk to, if some of the staff, one of the staff can go out and talk to him. All right, thanks.
All right. We are on, everybody ready? We are on item number 7, BZA-25-09, and it is a petition by Joseph and Cheryl Levitt requesting variances from sections 8.4A, 8.4B, and 8.4E of the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance in order to reduce the side setback from the required 10 feet down to 5 feet, to reduce the rear setback from the required 10 feet down to 9 feet, and to increase the maximum accessory building area from 566 square feet to 864 square feet on the property located at 3615 Melbourne Drive. It's on page 51 of your packet. The property is zoned R1A, single family. Staff will give more details.
Kevin Boyd, Development Services Manager. This variance request involves a 0.26 acre tract located at 3615 Melbourne Drive. The property is currently zoned R1A, one family residential, and situated in the Meadowbrook subdivision. According to the Augusta Richmond County tax records, the 2,142 square foot residence was constructed back in 1965. There are 3 requests for variances. The applicant is seeking a 5-foot reduction on the side yard to 5 feet, a 1-foot reduction in the rear yard to 9 feet, and to reduce the maximum size of the building from allowed based on the lot size of 500 square feet. Want to increase that amount to 864 square feet. And these are all referenced from section 8-4 of our ordinance. The property or lot is approximately 87 feet wide and 130 feet deep, which is the average lot size of existing properties in the Meadowbrook subdivision. Sections 8-4A and 8-8B of the comprehensive zoning ordinance requires a minimum 10-foot side setback with lot widths measuring over 70 feet in the R1 zone. Section 8-4B of the comprehensive zoning ordinance requires accessory buildings to have a minimum 10-foot rear yard setback. For lots that are over 10,000 square feet, the maximum size is the greater of 500 square feet or 3% of the lot, whichever is greater. This will allow for a maximum gross floor area of 500 square feet for accessory buildings. Looking at the screen here, there's photographs of the subject property. And this is the back portion, which you can see is mostly covered with, it seems like concrete there, and you can see the fencing enclosure. This is the vantage point of which that 864 square foot accessory building will be located in the rear yard. The applicant intends to, or as you can see, has already removed the 160 square foot accessory building located on the property. The proposed accessory building will not have electrical service. Approval of this request would not exceed the maximum 30% allowable lot coverage in the R1 zone. And at the time of completion of the staff report, no inquiries were received by staff concerning this variance application. This concludes staff's presentation.
Do we have the petitioner here? If you will come to the mic, state your name and your address. And anything that you want the board to hear, please.
Good afternoon, Joseph Cheryl Lovett. We live at 3615 Melbourne Drive, and we're trying to put in a 2-car garage and a storage unit.
Is there anything else you might want to add, or no?
For protection of the vehicles and storage room.
Are there any objectors in the audience?
We do have the letter with.
Can you please read it, please?
Yes, sir. Let me pull it back up here. All right. I, Lonnie Wimberly, President of the Richmond County Neighborhood Association Alliance. I am out of town this week. Therefore, I cannot attend this appeal board meeting. Complaints have been made to the Alliance in opposition to the variance request for the listed properties. These properties are zoned for a one-family residence. Granting the appeals paves the way for a business venture or a second resident or uses that are in total opposition to the original zoning. We ask these appeals are fully rejected, and they included BZA item 25-09. And that concludes the opposition via email.
Can't get
Mr.
staff
Chair?
record.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. I'll defer.
Go ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead, Mr. Turner.
So, I'm sorry, Mr. Chair, I'd like to ask the applicant a question. And sir, I'm just going to be very direct. The previous appeal, we can't come to an agreement about how much overage. I mean, that's just what we went through. Are y'all willing to consider a smaller building than this 800? Because you're asking actually for 10% more overage than the previous applicant. So are you willing to consider a smaller building? And if you are you willing to discuss that with staff today? What could be done?
All right. What is this? This don't get the deal. What talking about?
With the staff. We'll talk it over.
You want to confer with the staff? Okay.
Mr. Chair, I make a motion that we move this item to the end of the schedule so the applicant can confer with the staff briefly on what their options might be.
I'm really disappointed because I want to question the opposition too, because I want to know why they, they oppose it, but we can't, they just send us a letter. So I can't make my vote like I would all the information, because I want to know why they oppose it too, other than just a letter, and have they talked to their neighbors. So, I mean, it's really disappointing.
If I may, Chairman, this is not to ascribe this to the letter, but in general, the concern that we've been hearing is about the size of all of these garages. When we go into the neighborhoods and the communities and you have these garages, studies, accessory structures, they're either towering over the existing structure or they become dominant on the property. The larger these sheds are, they become a part of the fabric, and they have a preeminence when you drive down the street. There's a level of prominence to them. So that's why the Association Alliance and some of the other alliances are coming together, and they're trying to say, hey, we drive through a neighborhood and all we see is these massive garages in the back. So, there are some things. Average parking space is a 9 by 18, so a 20 by 20, and you say 400 square feet would roughly accommodate easily cars, 500 square feet, cars and storage. So you look at it from that perspective, you can park 2 vehicles. Now, when you start talking about dualies and things like that, you're looking at different types of trucks, of course. But in general, it's the dominance on the residential area of those accessory structures that's the complaint.
I agree with everything you're saying. I'm just saying I would just like to have their opinion, and if they could talk to their constituents, and then we can come to a compromise, and we'll be better off, because now we're not even going. I'm pretty sure y'all not even going to join the association now.
We don't have no association out, but they will. Who act that way?
I think that may be, Mr. Chairman, if I would, that may be irrelevant if we could keep moving here. About them joining the association, I don't think that's any of our business.
Okay. Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
It appears to me we are not consistent. We just voted additional structure 2,300 square feet. And we hear dickering over 800 or 700 square feet. And I didn't hear the same types of questions posed for that. So it just appears to me, my thinking.
Mr. Chairman, could I address that?
Yes, go ahead.
That gentleman that we approved had come here previously. He was here in February, and we asked him to reduce it. That's why he came back. Plus, he had a medical letter. So we're just trying to make sure that if there's a way to reduce it, so it is not appealing or unappealing to neighbors, and we don't end up with large accessory buildings, as the director has said. It's a lot to do with aesthetics in terms of the neighborhood. It's nothing to do with you. We're just trying to make sure to maintain the value and integrity of the neighborhood.
The other parcel also had 1.17 acres.
Thank you.
It had 1.17 acres. I agree with that. But it wasn't a medical evaluation. It was from a counselor.
But he did reduce it. It wasn't
from a psychologist or from a medical doctor.
And please note that that was reduced.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Brigham?
Last time I remembered, I think the attorneys always told us that each case stands on its own merits.
Yes.
That there is no consistency in what we rule. We evaluate each applicant and their needs. Just because we approve one guy one rate and another guy a different rate, that is what we're here for, to evaluate each applicant. And I think we're getting in a bickering for outside politics of this board that people are trying to please. We are here to listen to the applicants. We're here to listen to the objectives. If they show, more than likely, like most applications, they have no objectives unless they get something that gets in somebody's craw. Thank you.
I second that motion. I think Mr. Turner made a motion for the Mr. and Ms. Levitt to actually talk with staff to consider reducing the size of this for their variance request. So I second that motion. Like I said, we're trying to work with you all. I know I am, and I believe some of the other board members are.
Oh, absolutely.
Also. So call for the vote. We have to vote on it.
Okay. So
I had my hand up, Mr. Chairman.
go ahead, Mr. Rowe.
I understand the comments that have been made. I also think we have a staff, and when the staff makes recommendation to us in our package, we can consider that as well.
Any other questions? Concerns?
May we have the vote, please?
That was a motion to move the agenda item 2509 to the end of the agenda. All in favor of the removal to the end, say aye, or raise your hands. Any opposed? All right, thank you. We'll move you guys to the end of the meeting, okay?
All right, next on the agenda is item number 8, BZA 25-10. It is a petition by Atia Galashaw requesting a variance from section 8-3B of the comprehensive zoning ordinance to establish a nail salon on the property located at 2105 Koenig Way. The zone is R1B, and it is on page 61 in your packets. Staff will give more details.
All right, Kevin Boyd, Development Services Manager. This case involves a 0.43 acre tract located at 2105 Connect Way in the Walton Hills subdivision. This property is situated in the R1B, one-family residential zone. According to Augusta Richmond County Tax Assessor Records Office, the 2,580 square foot residence was constructed in 2003. The applicant seeks approval of a variance to establish a home salon. And the granting of a home occupation permit is subject to a finding by the Board of Zoning Appeals that a proposed home occupation is compatible with surrounding or other uses permitted in the residential zones. The character of the residential neighborhoods are maintained and preserved, and the home occupation is useful to both the community and to the resident proprietor. In addition, the specific conditions that a home occupation has to meet are listed in section 8-3B of the comprehensive zoning ordinance. An analysis of whether or not the proposed request meets these conditions are as follows, and I just go over whether or not they meet it. The proposed salon falls under the definition of personal services, so it satisfies that requirement. The proposed salon does not include retail, manufacturing, or repair businesses. The proposed salon will be contained in the same residential dwelling as the unit as the home occupant. And home occupation would occupy less than 25% of the heated space of the home. The business will not have any associated signage or illumination, inordinate noises, detectable vibrations, or odors generated from business activities conducted on the property. Hours of operation of the home salon or nail salon would be from 9 until 5 p.m. daily, Monday through Friday, and by appointment only. There will be no paid employees or assistants according to the applicant. The electrical, plumbing, and other applicable components will be required to be inspected to ensure that the home meets all applicable building codes, and the applicant is indeed the owner of the subject property. In terms of staff's findings, and I did put on the screen the overall layout of the first level of the home. And the nail room is located to the top right corner of the property of the layout of the home. And the bathroom will be closed off closest to the nail room to allow for customers to utilize. In terms of staff's findings, the applicant requests for approval to establish the nail salon on the property. And this will allow for customers to visit the property. Section 8-3B of the comprehensive zoning ordinance prohibits home-based businesses that generate vehicular traffic at volumes greater than would normally be expected for a single-family residence. So that's the variance that's being, or the relief that's being sought. In this case, the salon will have a separate entrance for the customers, and it will be towards the rear. See if I could point. So they will enter through the rear. So that's the only exterior alteration to the home. The space was enclosed by a previous owner back in 2019. The home occupation will occupy roughly 8% of the overall dwelling, and no storage of goods, materials will be allowed on a porch or a separate accessory building, which the applicant agrees to not do. The hours of operation was stated from 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. The applicant is limited to one employee, like her being the only worker there. The state doesn't allow for that as well. No assistants will be employed. Connect Way is a local residential street that experiences light traffic. The customers will park on the existing driveway and be limited to the driveway for parking. And at the time of the completion of staff report, staff did receive 3 letters in support concerning this variance application. That concludes staff's presentation.
Okay, I will recuse myself from this particular petition, since that's my neighbor. And Ms. Williams will execute this portion of the meeting.
All right, can we please have the petitioner to come forward, please? And when you get to the microphone, if you could please state your name and address for the record, and you heard staff presentation at this time, then of course you tell us about your petition request.
Yes, ma'am. Good afternoon, board members. My name is Zatia Galashaw, and I am a resident of 2105 Connect Way. So first, before we begin, let me just say, I know that we have been saying nail salon. So when we think of a nail salon, we think of this big space with a bunch of clients. It's not necessarily a nail salon. It's going to be more like a nail suite. So it's a one-person business. It's only going to be me. Like he was saying, a 9 to 5. You guys, so I'm a retired military veteran, disabled. I haven't been working. I'm trying to get back into the swing of things. Took this journey, got my nails licensed. So I wanted to start small because I suffer from PTSD and bipolar. So having a nail salon, or excuse me, a nail suite in my own home is the first step to get me back into the swing of things before I take that next big step and go out into the real world. So I'm just trying to ease my way into it. I wanted to say that due to the Georgia Board State of Cosmetology and Barbers and Cosmetology, I tried to do a special use permit, but I couldn't due to the type of business that it was. The suite has to be closed off from the rest of the house. So I intend to, if you look at, I don't know if you guys have seen the pictures, but if you look at the pictures, there is a hallway. And it's going to be separated. So the laundry room is here. On the opposite side is a restroom, because the restroom has to be 300 feet from the from the salon in order for them to wash their hands and use the restroom, of course. So it's going to be blocked off there, and we are going to add on, well, not add on, we're going to have a door that's added on the back, so that way they can enter and exit. There will be no overlapping of clients. There's only going to be one client at a time. It's appointment-based, and my appointments are going to be, they're not going to be back-to-back, because that will allow me time to clean up. And per Georgia State Board, I have to clean up in a certain way, and I have to have time to clean up, use the restroom and prepare myself for the next client. So there won't be back-to-back appointments. There is, at no time will there be two people allowed in there besides me and the client. No extra guests, no pets, none of that. And the customers, my clients will be parking in the driveway. I'm just trying to set up a how should I say this? An experience. It's going to be called the Raw Nail Experience. So a special experience for my clients to come in and relax and enjoy themselves. Taking time out to yourself is kind of hard these days, and I want to be able to give that to them. And I'm just asking that you guys just look over it and see what you think. And that's all I really have. Oh, I also do have one more thing. I did get 2 letters. I'm sorry. One of the letters, they didn't get it to me in time, but I did get 2 letters from 2 of my neighbors. If you guys would like to read them, I will pass those around. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. That's another one right there. Instead of,
Okay, Amber she's gonna get the letters and she'll pass them around to us as board members. Thank you for you sharing that information with us. Are there any objectors in the audience? Okay, we know, of course, it has been mentioned in the staff presentation too about support, and also we have these letters going around. Thank you, of course, for your service. And could you please just kind of let us know what would be your hours of operation?
So my hours of operation are going to be kind of 9 to 5. Like I said, appointment based only. Now, if I can, for like the some of my clients that work different shifts, if I can, do special hours for them, I will. If I can't, that's fine too. I'll stick to the 9 to 5. But I'm looking at a 9 to 5. And like I said, it's going to be appointment based and only the client, one at a time, no extras.
Okay, I think Mr. Brigham, did you have your hand? Oh, okay. Mr. Turner, Board Member Turner. Yes.
Also in opposition is the letter. I'm Lonnie Wimberly, President of the Richmond County Neighborhood Association Alliance. I'm out of town this week, therefore I cannot attend this appeal board meeting. Complaints have been made to the appliance in opposition to the variance request for the listed properties. These properties are zoned for a one-family residence. Granting the appeals paves the way for a business venture or a second resident or other uses that are in total opposition to the original zoning. We ask that these appeals are fully rejected. And this applies, this letter also applies to BZA 25-10. Thanks for your support. And that is the letter in opposition. To move to the staff recommendation, the Planning and Development staff is recommending approval of the variance request subject to the following conditions. Number 1, ensure improvements to the enclosed garage receive the necessary permits and comply with all aspects of the Augusta building and fire codes. Number 2, no exterior improvements that changes the residential appearance of the home. Number 3, the home business must comply with applicable state regulations. Number 4, they must comply with the SUB compliance and building permit requirements. And that concludes staff's recommendation.
All right, thanks, Director Delaney, for that recommendation. Do you agree with the, do you understand and agree with staff's recommendation?
Okay, so can you please explain to me so I can?
Okay, I'm gonna let her do it again. That's why I want to make sure you understand. She's read it into record, but we want to make sure you understand and that you agree to it.
Yes, ma'am.
Director Delaney.
Sorry about that. Yes, ma'am.
She has some question about making sure she understands the recommendations.
Mm-hmm.
So she may have some questions. Amber is showing it to her in writing.
So I did read it, the special use permit, so I just have to apply for that as well, right on top of that. Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
Okay.
I agree.
Okay, Board Member Shivers.
Madam Chairman, I motion approval of this based upon the recommendation from staff 1 through 4. That's my,
I second.
Okay, has been motion and second to approve with staff's recommendation. At this time, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You got it? You got it, Amber? All right, you have been granted your approval for your variance request, and your letter will go in the mail to you on this week. Thanks, and you have a great day.
Thank y'all.
We appreciate your service.
Thank you for your support, and y'all have a wonderful day.
Okay.
All right, next item on the agenda is number 9, BZA 25-11. It is a petition by James B. Ward requesting variances from Section 8-1B of the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance to increase the side and rear yard height of masonry walls from 6 feet to 8 feet and increase the front yard height of an aluminum fence with brick columns from 4 feet to 5 feet on the property located at 2403 Wrightsboro Road. It is zone R3B, which is multiple family residential. It is on page 71 in your packets, and staff can give further details.
Brian Kepner, Planning and Development staff. As stated, this is a request to increase the height of a side fence and a front yard fence. The request concerns a 0.22 acre parcel situated in the northwest quadrant at the intersection of Wrightsboro Road and Whitney Street. The applicant is seeking to approval of a variance for allowed front yard fence height of 4 feet to 5 feet to construct an aluminum fence with brick columns along Whitney Street, and for the allowed side and rear fence height of 6 feet to 8 feet to construct a masonry wall along the west side and north rear property lines. The lot is approximately 60 feet wide along Whitesboro Road and 150 feet long on Whitney Street. The proposed 5-foot aluminum fence with brick columns would be located along Whitney Street, running approximately 75 feet of the 150-foot length of the property. The proposed 8-foot masonry wall would be located at the north rear property line, running approximately 10 feet to the western edge and the west side property line, running approximately 105 feet of the 150-foot length of the property. The applicant states that the proposed fencing is required to provide increased safety and security for the residents and guests. The proposed fencing would be replacing existing fencing that was destroyed during an incident with the adjacent neighbors to the west, in which a car was driven through the applicant's backyard trying to reach Whitney Street. The increase in height of the front yard fence from 4 feet to 5 feet would be a 25% increase. The increase in height of the rear and side fencing from 6 feet to 8 feet would be a 33% increase. The property is situated within the Somerville Historic District. Any new construction or exterior improvements are subject to Historic Preservation Commission review and approval. And at the time of the completion of the report, no inquiries were received by staff concerning the variance application, and that concludes staff's report.
Do we have the requests in the audience? If you would, come up to the mic, state your name and your address, and anything you'd like the board to hear, please.
Sure, I'm James Ward, and I'm 2403 Wrightsboro Road, Augusta, Georgia, 30904. This is, oh, I'm sorry, she moved inside of me. It's my wife, Pam.
Same address.
So we just recently bought the property this summer and moved from DC to help take care of my parents. We've been away from Augusta for about 25 years, and so we've moved back home. On the morning of the 18th, well, part of the fence got blown away in a hurricane, okay? And I actually got to witness that. It was kind of distressing. Other parts of the fence was taken down in an incident when the neighbors living next door, 2 women and a small child, were chased from their home by a violent assailant. That violence came into our yard, including gunfire. The 2 neighbors are trying to escape through our property, trying to get through the wood fence in the Whitney Street. They ran into the side of our house, knocked the air conditioning off its foundation, trying to escape. Trying to get out of our yard, the assailant fired a total of 9 rounds at these ladies and a small child. The vehicle is essentially recovered, Sheriff's Department investigated and so forth. My wife is in the backyard during this period trying to see what's going on with the car. So the request is to replace that wall from a kind of a plastic vinyl sort of wall, privacy fence, something more solid. The height request is requested because of a sight line from the property, from the raised porches in the back in order to obscure sight lines to the adjacent properties. And the aluminum fencing is to give a more solid structure to that side of the fence and something that's going to look nice in the neighborhood, enhance value, but also provide increased protection. Also, the wall, the masonry walls, also to look nice, stucco finish, brick accents, increase property values, hopefully, but also increase security posture of the property. So ensure that this does not happen again, to ensure my wife and I feel safe in our homes. So that's why we're requesting the variance.
Are there any objectors? Can we have staff record? Mr. Pascal, go ahead.
I'm a little confused. Whitney Street, is that the front of the home?
No, sir, that's the side of the home. The front of the home is facing Riceboro.
Okay, I'm trying to look at it. All right, I see.
I got a question for staff, Mayor.
Oh, yes, please, go ahead.
Okay, does this have to go before the Historic Preservation Society?
Yes.
So we're gonna vote on it before they approve it?
It's normal because of the way the dates fall. It's just next week. So before the letter would even get to them, they will be in front of HPC. So yeah.
It does go before.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm just making sure, you know, that you're aware of that.
Oh, yes, ma'am, we are.
On the 27th.
Two-step process to approvals.
That was my question.
Can we get staff recommendations, please?
Yes. The Planning and Development staff is recommending denial of the variance request as it does not meet all of the criteria established in Section 33 of the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance of the Augusta, Georgia, as amended. However, should the board decide to approve the variance request, staff recommends the following conditions. Number one, it will allow for a front yard fence height along Whitney Street of 5 foot and a west side yard and north rear yard fence height of 8 feet. Number two, the approval of a certificate of appropriateness from the Historic Preservation Commission is required. Number three, the applicants must provide design plans stamped and signed by a registered engineer because of the height. That's a building requirement. And that concludes staff's recommendations.
Thank you. Ms. Williams, go ahead. Board Member Williams.
You've heard staff recommendation. Do you all agree to her recommendations?
Yes.
Okay.
I'll make a motion, we approve
Second.
with staff recommendations.
Been properly moved. Can we get a approval? With your hands.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve. We need all in favor with a yes for Brigham and Williams' motion. Please say yes. We're going to start down here with Mrs. Williams.
Yes, I approve.
All right, Mr. Brigham.
Of course.
Okay, we have Mr. Rowe out. Mr. Forrest, you're chairing, so.
Yes.
Do a tie break. Ms. Williams? Ms. Shivers?
Yes.
Ms. Morton? Mr. Turner?
Yes.
Mr. Pascal? All right, thank you. That motion is approved.
Thank you. Your letter will be going on in the mail on tomorrow. Thank you so much.
Sure, appreciate it.
Next up on the agenda, we have item number 10. It is BZA 25-12, and it is a petition by Locke McKnight requesting a variance from sections 8-8A and 18-7 of the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance to reduce the front setback on Hurd Avenue from the required 30 feet down to 25 feet on the property located at 728 Hurd Avenue and 2083 Heckle Street. Both parcels are zoned R3C, and staff will give further details.
Brian Kepner again. This variance request involves a 3.21 acre parcel located in the southeast corner of the intersection of Hurd Avenue and Warren Street. The applicant seeks to reduce the required 30-foot front yard setback to 25 feet along Hurd Avenue. The applicant had the property rezoned to R3C multiple family residential last year for the purpose of constructing a 30-unit apartment building. Based on the information from the rezoning application, the proposed apartments building will be 58 feet wide and 148 feet in length. The applicant states that in designing the layout of the apartment building on the property, it was determined that they would need to reduce the front yard setback along Hurd Avenue from 30 feet to 25 feet. The proposed reduction to 25 feet is approximately a 16% reduction in the setback requirement. According to the submitted conceptual site plan, the proposed location of the apartment building is closer to Hurd Avenue and Warren Street, with no parking spaces between the building and the streets. All of the single-family dwellings to the east located on the same side of Warren Street are set back less than the required 30 feet. Now, however, they were all built prior to the adoption of the comprehensive zoning ordinance in 1963. Section 8-8A of the comprehensive zoning ordinance allows for block faces with non-uniform front setbacks. The minimum front yard setback shall be the average of the front yards of the existing structures on the face block, allowing the front setbacks on Warren Street to be less than 30 feet. At the time of completion of this report, staff has not received any inquiries concerning the variance petition, and that concludes staff's report.
There's the petitioner in the audience. If you would, come up to the mic, say your name, your address, and if you have the authority to speak on behalf of this petition.
Hello, my name's Lot McKnight. I live in 3007 Pine Needle, Augusta, Georgia, and I'm with Sage.
Sage James, 2022 High Grass Court, Evans, Georgia.
First of all, I'd say thank y'all for y'all's hard work, 'cause it gets long up there, doesn't it? So what we're doing is we've been working for a while here. This was originally the old stables for the Bon Air. I won't take too much of your time. And we've converted that into apartments. It's been low-density apartments, 47 apartments. And we've had great success with the medical staff and our medical students and other students in the area and the whole neighborhood. And that's why before they were all here. This time I think everybody knows this is going to be a great project for the neighborhood. And we've worked hard with the staff to establish on this lot where to put this third building. And that's what we came up with. And then we went to construction and we found out we had a setback issue. So that's what brings us before y'all today, is that we're requesting that we reduce that setback from 30 feet to 25 feet.
Good. Anything else you want to add?
We're here to answer any questions or.
Okay, are there any objectors? Okay, Ms. Williams.
Can we have staff's recommendation?
The Planning and Development staff is recommending denial of the application because it does not meet all of the criteria for Section 33 of the Comprehensive Zoning Ordinance. However, should the board decide to approve the variance request, staff recommends the following condition: that the front yard setback along Hurd Avenue be 25 feet. That concludes staff's recommendation.
Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Brigham.
Madam Director, didn't he ask for 25 feet on both streets?
I can answer that one.
Third.
Based on the location of the property is at the corner of Heckle. I hope I'm saying this right. Hurd or Heckle?
Hurd and Heckle.
Hurd and Warren. And so based on the existing buildings along Warren, we were able to do an established building line adjustment for a reduction in the overall setback. So based on that reduction of the established building line, we were able to
so it's not a need to say both 25 on both?
It's just on Hurd.
On one side.
Only on Hurd, because the homes are historically placed further out from the street, thereby removing the
I don't believe there were any homes originally on that side of the street. If I remember correctly, when I served on the school board and that was their offices, there wasn't no homes that faced
Yeah, what we did
So
is
we,
measure
we,
both
we,
sides.
we are, okay.
Yeah, both sides of the street, 500 feet from the
Okay,
property.
I'm checking you, Kevin. This sounds foolish, but Mr. McKnight, do you agree with the exceptions that the director has placed on this property?
Yes, sir, absolutely.
With that, I'm gonna make a motion that we approve
Second, with staff recommendations?
with staff recommendations.
I understand. Can we get a vote for? Okay.
All right. So we have a motion on the floor to approve with a 25-foot setback. We're looking for yeses and nos. So with that being said, all who
With
are.
staff's recommendation.
With staff's recommendation, that's the 25-foot. Yeah. So it's for a 25-foot setback. All those in favor with a yes, please raise your hand. That's with the setback. We note that Mr. Rowe is out, and that becomes unanimous. All right. So we're going to revisit these other two applications. If you give me a moment to
Thank you all.
confer with staff.
Thank you, Mr. McKnight. Your approval letter will be going out in the mail tomorrow. Thank you.
All right, at this time, staff has met with the two applicants that were postponed, and both of those applicants would like to request a postponement to the April meeting so that they can delve into this a little bit more. So we would be looking for a motion to postpone until the April meeting for both of these applications.
I make a motion to postpone BZA-25-08 and BZA-25-09 until our next meeting.
Second.
Second.
All in favor with a yes, please raise your hand. Let the record show that it's unanimous with Mr. Rowe out. That concludes our staff presentation for today.
Law Department, nothing for the legal section.
Madam, Mr. Chairman, before you adjourned, since this is obviously going to become an issue, are y'all going to give us some indication what a standard two-car garage is and how much additional space these people are going to be allowed to have? So we could have some kind of idea whether we're going to approve a variance or not.
We can definitely provide you with that, but I do want to point out that in all of the applications, the ordinance tells you what the accessory structure can accommodate. That number is actually based on the size of the lot, and it has already taken those things into consideration. So when you get to the maximum, which is 500 square feet, depending on your lot size here, it's already telling you that you can fit 2 cars in there. A parking space is typically a 9 by 18, so you can say a 10 by 20 is 1 car, if you want to look at it from that way. So it's 20 by 40. So it's
We've proved so many different things up here, and since I've been here, it's gone from 200 square feet to as much as over 1,400 square feet. And I know it depends on lot size, but it also depends on what the homeowner is trying to accomplish, or at least that's what I thought it was about.
The other thing to remember is our staff recommendation is denial. That's our primary one, because they are not meeting the minimum criteria set by the state. So every time the board decides to vote in opposition or takes the however approach, you're weakening the argument. But the ordinance captures it accurately, and it does explain it.
If we did every time the staff recommended denial, we wouldn't even have anybody coming to see us. because we deny everything.
Well, I want to be clear, the Board of Zoning Appeals criteria is set at the state level. They gave those 4 conditions. We didn't arbitrarily
I'm not
make this
arguing
up.
with you. I'm just saying that we have a responsibility to listen to the applicants. That's all I'm saying.
And I think we did. We're not denying. We're just, wanting it to be
I
conforming.
think we
wanna
denied on
conform.
outside political influence today on something that we would normally have approved.
That's all I was saying.
I just feel that,
And I want to make sure too, since the board member said I'm going, it's not on record, but I should have did it on record. But it looks like that there were several of us got a text message from the president, Arlene Edwards, Elmira Shivers, Jerry Brigham, Lonnie Wimberly, Wayne Pascal. So I got it. So that's why I felt the responsibility to share it with the director, so that she could put it in record since I received. I think that was the right thing to do. And I didn't make my decision based on that. I made my decision based on the discussion and what we were doing.
and I'm making mine on aesthetics for the neighborhood, in terms of the way it looks, and how you want to keep and maintain the amenities in your neighborhood, and how you want the homes to look as because at some point, people do want to resell, and, like you said, that could be an eyesore, and you don't want it to be. When do you stop? Yeah. When do you stop?
And most of the additional accessory structures that I see throughout the county, they are not maintained well and upkept. They're not maintained well.
And the material does not match the home, so that devalues not just their property, but the surrounding neighbor's property. And we're not here just to look at one person. We got to take in a totality of our community. So that's what my thought patterns was. I wasn't coming from any kind of political standpoint. I'm coming from the aesthetics of the neighborhood, being a realtor in the Augusta area along with you, and you understand that aesthetics and appearance means a lot. And I just don't want everything located in South Richmond County to be so lopsided.
Well, that's when the neighborhood association come in, right? So what I'm saying is if he would have been here and he could have explained it to his constituents, which they don't even have a neighborhood association, so he wasn't even talking to them. The letter wasn't even for them. So what I'm saying is it's got to be transparent, and it's got to be where we communicate. And I think we've been doing a good job of not just denying people and shutting them off, and we give them opportunities to say, we can work with you, can you work with us? And that's what I believe in. But I don't just send a letter and then just want to deny. They don't even know that constituent ain't even in the association.
But I want to make clear, anytime someone emails us and we get it in time, we still read it into the record. So it's given the same, there was no extra weight added onto it. The other thing is that what's happening is you have these homes with these industrial sheds coming in. So now you've got these industrial sheds in a lot of people's backyards, and that's the part that people are frustrated with. When Mr. Brigham was talking about how we used to do them, people would actually make them look similar to the home. They would make it complementary material, but now you'll go to a home and it'll have 3 roll-up doors and it's industrial. It does, and I understand people want to park their recreational vehicles and things like that. So again, anything staff can do to help, we will. We'll make sure we'll put the dimensions of parking spaces, and we'll do them at 10 by 20, so that you can see what a double car garage or a triple car garage would actually entail. We can do that.
And where does the covenant plays in this? Because a lot of times the covenants specify, that the home should be out of a certain type of material and size, and they should have to go through that architectural committee.
Yeah, well, the problem is a lot of neighborhoods don't have these things, you know what I mean? Like.
All of them should have a covenant.
HOAs and.
All of them should have a
We
covenant.
we don't ever enforce covenants.
No, I'm not saying enforce it, but I'm saying that should be a part.
And yeah, we are a historical city, so we're going to have older neighborhoods and communities that have voluntary HOAs. And so that enforcement arm from that HOA, which is all civil and the county can't intervene in. So those are processes and calls. We do provide information when those HOAs that do exist need supporting documentation to pursue some type of action. So, but I think our attorney's going to get on us for going off topic too long.
Okay.
And not having it on the agenda.
Well, I think we have to have discussion.
Do we need a motion to dismiss? No.
No, I got one more question. I got one more question. I've been asking this for years. Why do they have to come to us first before they go to the historic preservation? Because it seems to me now that they have to pay a fee to us. Then if they deny it, then they don't pay the fee. So
I'm gonna weigh in. The BZA variance is actually a little bit more, the rules are much stricter for you guys. Additionally, the clarification from y'all informs HPC, not the other way around. HPC is the weaker body. You are the stronger body. And so your decision informs HPC because HPC's decision is only like whether or not wood or iron is appropriate in that context. You decide whether or not the fence goes there at all.
Well, I agree with that, but if they deny, say, well, they don't want that structure in that community, then
So that's only a denial because their material is different from the material that's accepted in the whatever. So you could always use the material that's defined in the individual guides for those individual historic districts that don't ever go to HPC. Generally, it does go to HPC because the wall, it's because of various like changes needed, but the changes are minor as compared to the big lift that this body does for the overall project.
Thank you so much. We are adjourned.
So moved.